Welcome. I'm here playing Lord British's Ultima IV, Quest of the Avatar, on the Apple II system. This is the system that it was originally developed on, and I'm hoping to capture the original experience of playing that game. Prepare yourself for a grand adventure! Ultima IV, 16 times larger than Ultima III, is a milestone in computer gaming. Lord British has produced a game to challenge not only your physical and mental skills, but the true fabric of your character. The evil triad of Mondain, Minex, and the Hellspawn Exodus have been vanquished, and peace reigns throughout the land of Britannia. A new age awaits the coming of one who can conquer evil on all frontiers, through the mastery of both magic and the use of force. The seeker on the path of the Avatar will face hostile groups composed of mixed enemy types, and will survive such encounters only with strategic use of weapons and terrain. Earthly victories over seemingly impossible odds lead to the final conflict, where the ultimate challenge, the South, awaits. This game consists of 2 full game discs, front and back. That's a lot of data. Full conversations with hundreds of characters. Multiple range weapons. Unified magic system of unmatched subtlety. Dozens of combat screens. Hundreds of individually designed dungeon chambers. Dozens of unique shops to explore. Looking back, it does seem silly to be excited about these, what would now be considered simple features. But you have to consider that, this is a lot of being packed into a small amount of memory. I remember one version of the box, maybe it was a sticker, it claimed, over 200 hours of gameplay. So expect these videos to take up over 200 hours. I thoroughly enjoyed this game growing up. I played it frequently, repeatedly. I acknowledge that time has passed, and retrospectively the quality of the game might not match the standards you might be expecting of games today. But it's special to me. So I'm going to go through the process of playing this game as if I've never played it before. I'm only going to follow the clues that are presented to me either in the books or the conversations I have with the people in towns. And I'm going to be playing as my daughter Gwendolen. We are playing the role of Gwendolen walking into the park. The day is warm, yet there is a cooling breeze. The latest in a series of personal crises seems insurmountable. You are being pulled apart in all directions. Yet this afternoon walk in the countryside slowly brings relaxation to your harried mind. The soil and stain of modern high-tech living begins to wash off in layers. That willow tree near the stream looks comfortable and inviting. The buzz of dragonflies and the whisper of the willow's swaying branches bring a deep peace. Searching inward for tranquility and happiness, you close your eyes. A high-pitched cascading sound, like a crystal wind chimes, impinges on your floating awareness. As you open your eyes, you see a shimmering blueness rise from the ground. The sound seems to be emanating from this glowing portal. It is difficult to look at the blueness. Light seems to bend and distort around it, while the sound waves become so intense, they appear to become visible. The portal hangs there for a moment, then, with the rush of an imploding vacuum, it sinks into the ground. Something remains suspended in midair for a moment, before falling to earth with a heavy thud. Somewhat shaken by this vision, you rise to your feet to investigate. A crude circle of stone surrounds the spot where the portal appeared. There is something glinting in the grass. You pick up an amulet, shaped like a cross with a loop at the top. It is an ankh, the sacred symbol of life and rebirth. But this could not have made the thud. So you look again and find a large book wrapped in thick cloth. With trembling hands you unwrap the book. Behold, the cloth is a map, and within it lies not only one book, but 2. The map is of a land strange to you, and the style speaks of ancient cartography. The script on the cover of the first book is arcane but readable. The title of the book? The History of Britannia, as told by Kyle the Younger. The other book is a disturbing book to look at. Its small cover appears to be fashioned out of some form of leathery hide, but from what creature is uncertain. The reddish-black skin radiates an intense aura suggestive of ancient power. The tongue of the title is beyond your ken. You dare not open the book and disturb whatever sleeps within. You instead decide to peruse the history, settling back under the willow tree. You open the book to the table of contents. You read the book of history. Chapter 1. Political History. The Dark Ages of Britannia is the name given to that long span of time when the infamous Triad of Evil stalked the lands and challenged all for the supremacy of the soul. The first era of darkness came to an end with the downfall of the evil wizard Mondane and his many minions, as chronicled in Ultima I. The lords of the land were weak and scattered, rendered ineffective by factional wars. It was only through the valiant efforts of an itinerant adventurer that the foul Mondane was tracked to his hidden lair and slain. But a few years of restless peace followed Mondane's downfall. So long had the world shuddered beneath Mondane's yoke that many found it hard to believe that he had been really vanquished. In truth, his teachings did not disappear. Mondane's apprentice Minax rose to power, but soon thereafter to challenge the fledgling city-states that were beginning to evolve. The terrors had begun anew. Minax's powers upon maturity greatly exceeded those of her evil mentor. With these powers she was able to rain wholesale destruction upon the planet, twisting and corrupting everything. Her foul web spread through time itself, ensnaring all who sought to oppose her. Finally, there arose a hero out of legend who dared face Minax on her own fiery castle and destroy her. Thus ended the second era of darkness, as told in Ultima II. 20 years of well-earned tranquility ensued, and prosperity favored the land. Then disturbing omens appeared, followed by the mysterious appearance of a fiery island. The tale of the third era of the Dark Ages is told by Iolo the Bard in Ultima III, wherein Lord British, sovereign of an incipient empire in the land of Sosaria, called forth through time and space for heroes of the people to assemble. 4 diverse adventurers answered this clarion call. To them fell the geas of the doom of Exodus. Long they labored on the trail of the mysterious Exodus, through many a deep dungeon which seared their souls. To this day, each member of that team bears the marks of their journey. With the aid of the mystical Time Lord, they were successful in bypassing the great Earth Serpent and gaining access to Exodus's land fortress. The very bricks of the fortress rose up against them, and great is the bard's tale of their struggle to reach their mortal foe. Of the final confrontation not one of them will speak, save to say that evil is gone from this plane. So passed the third member of the Triad of Evil, and with this death so passed the Dark Ages of Britannia. From the rubble of Sosaria, Lord British was able to unite all the mainland and a few of the islands under his one rule. This new empire of Britannia brought much sought-after peace and prosperity to his subjects. Many of the ancient pockets of evil were destroyed, so that only remaining hazard to wayfarers was the occasional stray band of marauding orcs or hill giants. Most of the lands were mapped, although a few unexplored regions still remain. With the Triad of Evil destroyed, Lord British became known for his dedication to raising the quality of life of his subjects. To assist in this endeavor, 3 mighty structures were raised in distant parts of the realm. One was the Lyceum, wherein lay the great observatory. Another was the Empeth Abbey, with its oak groves where wise men and women meditated upon the teachings of the ancients. The third structure was the great castle of the Knights' Order of the Silver Serpent. Only the flower of Lord British's chivalry was invited to join this order, which embodied the highest ideals in exemplary bravery. The rest of the land was divided among 8 major towns, each with its own political faction. Numerous satellite villages also dotted the countryside between the towns. In this manner were Lord British's lands organized. No, really, read the book of history. We'll read more later. Closing the book, you again pick up the Ankh. As you hold it, you begin to hear a hauntingly familiar lute-like sound wafting over a nearby hill. Still clutching the strange artifacts, you rise, unbidden, and climb the slope. In the valley below, you see what appears to be a fair. It seems strange that you came this way earlier and noticed nothing. As you mull this over, your feet carry you down toward the site. This is no ordinary traveling carnival, but a Renaissance fair. The pennants on the tent tops blow briskly in the late afternoon breeze. The ticket taker at the Ren Fair's gate starts to ask you for money, but upon spotting your ankh says, "Welcome, friend. Enter in peace and find your path." The music continues to pull you forward amongst the merchants and vendors. Glimpses of fabulous treasures can be seen in some of the shadowy booths. These people are very happy. They seem to glow with an inner light. Some look up as you pass and smile, but you cannot stop. The music compels you to move onward through the crowd. Through the gathering dusk, you see a secluded gypsy wagon sitting off in the woods. The music seems to emanate from the wagon. As you draw near, a woman's voice weaves into the music, saying, "You may approach, O seeker." You enter to find an old gypsy sitting in a small curtained room. She wears an ankh around her neck. In front of her is a round table covered in deep green velvet. The room smells so heavily of incense that you feel dizzy. Seeing the ankh, the ancient gypsy smiles and warns you never to part with it. "We have been waiting such a long time, but at last you have come. Sit here, and I shall read the path of your future." Upon the table she places a curious wooden object, like an abacus, but without beads. In her hands she holds 8 unusual cards. Let us begin the casting. The gypsy places the first 2 cards upon the table. They are the cards of valor and honor. She says, "Consider this. During battle, thou art ordered to guard thy commander's empty tent. The battle goes poorly, and thou dost yearn to aid thy fellows. Dost thou A. valiantly enter the battle to aid thy companions, or B. honor thy post as guard? Dost thou justly step forward to claim the reward, or B. humbly go about thy life, secure in thy self-esteem?" Now my goal here is to play as a shepherd, so I know that in order to do this I must pick humility. Dost thou A. deliver the gold, knowing the trust of thee was well placed, or show compassion, giving the beggar a coin, knowing it won't be missed? Dost thou A. sacrifice thy life of purity to aid thy kin, or decline and follow thy spirit's call? Dost thou A. donate all thy wealth to feed hundreds of starving children, and receive public adulation, or B. humbly live out thy life, willing thy fortune to thy heirs? Dost thou A. show compassion by permitting him to yield, or slay him as expected as a valiant duelist? Dost thou A. show thy compassion and play the braggart, or B. humbly let another go? We're going to humbly let another go. With the final choice, the incense swells up around you. The gypsy speaks as if from a great distance, her voice growing fainter with each word. "So be it. Thy path is chosen." There is a moment of intense, wrenching vertigo. As you close your eyes, a voice whispers within your mind, "Seek the counsel of thy sovereign." After a moment, the spinning subsides, and you open your eyes too. But wait, we're going to make a note in our journal. Our first objective. And after writing that in our notebook, after a moment, the spinning subsides, and you open your eyes too. A mysterious island, possibly in the middle of the ocean. So we've been taken away by this gypsy and transported to what looks like a secluded island. There's a bit of a hut here, and a swamp to the north. Now let's read up on swamps. Marsh. The marshes and fens are particularly treacherous and should be avoided at all costs. We will avoid them at all costs. While progress is only slowed to half one's normal pace by the muck underfoot, the marshes give off poisonous gases which can severely harm members of the party. We're going to avoid the risk of walking into the marsh. But let's take some time to explore this structure and find out where we are and what we're doing. Next time on the Ultima Experience, Part 2, Demons, Pythons, and Prides, Lamentations of the Undead.